What's up everybody? I just woke up right now and I'm going to the gym, and afterwards we're gonna play poker. So that's how my day started, and let's go. What's up everybody? Today we're gonna do something different. We're gonna do a day in life of a professional poker player in Las Vegas. I just woke up and I'm going straight up to the gym, and let's see how the day goes. Yo, on my way to the gym, look who I found here. Yo, we're doing we're doing a day in life of a pro poker player in Vegas. Where should I play today?
I don't know. I know you're a big fan of Resorts World. So.
You know what you're talking about, bro.
I know you like the back of my hand.
Let's go. Brenton made a pretty good guess, but we're not playing at Resorts World today. We're actually playing at my favorite place to play 2-5 in Vegas while the World Series of Poker was happening. Aria Resort. Their buy-in at the 2-5 is 1500, so we played 300 big blinds deep. It was a Friday and I was decided to play a long session in that day. They always have a lot of tourists around and wealthy people who won't mind losing a few $100s. I buy in for 1500, which is the max at their 2-5, and I clock in on the Bink app. That's the app I'm using nowadays to track my sessions, and they also have some pretty cool GTO training tools. I'll leave a link in the description in case you wanna try them out. And the first hand is already a very interesting one. I see Ace Jack of Hearts from the low jack and I open raise to 15, high jack and cutoff call, which is not something that they should be doing because that's gonna incentivize Button to 3-bet in position. And that's exactly what he does. Button 3-bets to 85, action is back on me, and here with Ace Jack suited, I know that's a hand that I could decide to 4-bet light. As you can see on GTO Wizard, whenever I open raise from the low jack, it doesn't even gives the option of hijack and cutoff to call, because when they call, what happens is that they have a capped range, because they wouldn't be calling if they had aces, kings, ace king, and that incentivizes Button to 3-bet in position. And as Button seemed to be a guy that would 3-bet light, I'm gonna decide to 4-bet here. The question is how much. His effective stack is around 670 total, so I'm gonna choose a sizing that in case he shoves, I'm not gonna be totally committed to the pot and I will be able to fold. So I decided to 4-bet to $230, cutoff and hijack fold. Action is back on the Button, who thinks for a long time. It looks like I really put him in a tough spot, and after he thinks for more than a minute, he decides to fold and we win this hand. And the next hand, we see the first pocket aces of the night. I'm in the cutoff and middle position raises to $15. We're gonna 3-bet here for sure. I 3-bet to 45 and unfortunately he folds and we win this one. There was also a 5-6 suited from the Button, the hijack open raises to 15, I 3-bet to 50 and everybody folds. And this table was seeming to be a little needy, more needy than usual, and I believe the average table at Aria is gonna have weaker players than the one I was. So I asked for a table change and I got one right away, and as soon as I got to the table, I realized that this table was way better than the one I was before. If you're new here, whenever I make this sign, it means that the table I am is soft, and the players who were the main reason why the table was soft, they were directly in my left, which is not ideal. You wanna play in position versus them as often as possible, and because they were in my left, what would happen is the exact opposite. And there was one particular guy that I'm gonna call him Fun Gentleman that was in my left, and we're gonna play many hands versus him. And the first one is gonna be this ace queen suited from the cutoff. It falls to me and I open the raise to $20. Fun Gentleman on the Button calls, and we go heads up to a ace queen 6 flop rainbow. He seemed to be wealthy and careless about his money, which is great. That's the type of player you want at your tables. I see bet small to $15 and he quickly calls, turns the king of hearts. That's a terrible card for his range, but I don't even know if he thinks in terms of ranges. So I decide to keep betting. Hopefully he's gonna keep calling me, which is not what happens. He folds and we win this hand. Next hand I see black queens from the big blind. Fun Gentleman limps and cutoff raises to 25 in position. I'm gonna 3-bet here for sure. I make it 105, around 4x the size of his raise. Cutoff asks how much I got behind. I show him and he calls. And we go heads up to a flop that comes king, king 4 with 2 clubs. On this flop, I could either check or betting small, like a third or even less. I decide to check this time and he quickly checks back. Turn is an ace of clubs. That's a very bad run out for my hand, but a pretty good for my range. What makes it less worse is that I have the queen of clubs, so I got a nut flush draw at least. I could decide to bet big here and transform my hand into a bluff, but I don't see him folding any ace or king, so I don't think it's the best play. And I decide to check again. He quickly checks back, and the river is a club. Hopefully he has a club in his hand. I decide to bet 150, and he quickly folds, and we win this one.
What do you got? Come on, Brazil.
Fun Gentleman was pretty interested about how was I playing. He wants to see my hand every time, and I decided to see it change to a better position. And I mentioned on Instagram that was a great time to run well, and thankfully the poker gods decided to deliver what I was looking for. One of the first hands in this seat, I see Ace-Jack suited from the small blind. Fun Gentleman raises to 15 and button calls. I don't think his range open raises from early position is so strong, so I'm gonna 3-bet here to 75. Only Fun Gentleman calls. He has 300 behind and we go heads up to a flop that comes 8-3-9 with 2 spades. I got 2 overs and a nut flush draw. That's a lot of equity and I'm gonna bet here for sure. The question is how much. And I decide to make it at sizing that possible lower flushes and also like 10 jack will decide to call because I'm crushing those hands and I want them to remain in the hand in case I bet. So I'm not gonna shove all in. I'm gonna bet smaller. I bet $100 and he starts thinking for a while, takes a sip of his drink and then decides to fold and we win this one. And the next hand is versus the same player again. I see King Jack offsuit from the under the gun and I open raise to 15. Only Fun Gentleman calls and we go heads out to the flop.
You and me again? Do you want to be on the vlog? You're already on the vlog, just so you know. What?
Watch this, watch. King Jack 6. King Jack 6. Live from Poker Profit.
King Jack 6,
Aria.
let's see.
King Jack 6.
Almost. Kind of.
Flop comes Jack 10-9 with 2 diamonds and he asks for a flop of King Jack 6. I'm gonna guess he could have a hand like Queen 10 or pocket 6s. So with this flop I decide to c-bet to $20. He calls and the turn comes a Queen of Spades. Now I got a straight. Hopefully he has a hand like Queen 10 and I decide to check this time.
Check.
He checks back really fast and the river comes an Ace of Spades. We have the nuts and now I wanna extract the most amount of value I can. And after thinking for a while, I decided to make a blocking bet to maybe give him a shot to raise and put pressure on me. So I bet $20. He quickly calls.
I have it.
Oh, King Jack.
I have it.
And now there is another weak player that just arrived to this table. Thankfully, he's directly to my right. He seemed to be pretty careless about his chips, limping and raising all the time, which is great. In the first hand versus him, I see King Jack offsuit from the cutoff. Under the gun straddles and he open raises to 30 from the hijack. I decide to 3-bet to 95. Only he calls and we go heads up to a flop that comes Jack 9-3 with 2 hearts and I have the King of Hearts. That's a great flop for us. And when he checks to me, I'm gonna c-bet for sure. I make it 75, which is roughly 40% of the pot. And now he re-raises to 165. There is no chance I'm folding here and I'm pretty confident I'm winning. He has 260 left, so there is no great reason for me to raise. I'm just gonna take my time and call in position. So that's what I do. I call and the turn is not the best. A 9 of clubs. If he had a 9, he is winning now. He checks now and even though there are 2 flush draws in the board, I believe this guy has a big tendency to bluff. So I decided to check and allow his bluffs to continue in the hand. In the river comes a complete blank, a 4 of diamonds. He shoves all in and I snap call. He shows ace 10 offsuit with the ace of diamonds and the 10 of hearts. His play just doesn't make any sense, but that's great for us and we win this more than $1,000 pot. We're still at the same table, but we changed from the outside part of the room to the inside. We're winning a little more than $1,000 so far. In the first hand in this new seat, I see ace 3 suited from the hijack. Under the gun straddles to 10 and I open raise to 30. Fun Gentleman in the small blind and straddler call. We go 3 ways to a flop that comes 3-5 queen with 2 diamonds. I got bottom pair and a nut flush draw. They both check to me and I believe here is the best option is to bet small and that's what I do. I see bet $40 and they both call. I don't think I'm winning so far with only bottom pair, but that's about to change when the 6 of diamonds comes. Now we've got the nuts and we're going to value town. I believe there is a relevant chance some of them has the queen. Hopefully some of them also have a low lower flush than mine, so I'm gonna bet an amount that I'm gonna extract value from both of those hands. I bet $70 this time. Both of them call again, and the river comes a 9 of spades. They both check to me, and I'm definitely gonna bet again. The question is how much. I decide to make it 275, which is around 60% of the pot. Fun Gentleman thinks for a while and then decides to call. Now action is on Straddler, who thinks for roughly 15 seconds and folds. I show my hand and Fun Gentleman mucks, winning around $1,800 so far, and the next hand is a pretty sick one. I see ace-4 suited, and player in my right just lost all his chips and he limps from the under the gun. I raise to $20. Middle position, small blind, big blind, and under the gun call. We go 5 ways to a flop that comes ace-5 deuce with 2 clubs and 1 heart. Small blind leads to 35. It folds around to me, and I'm gonna call in position and see a turn. But right after that happens, middle position re-raises to $100. Fun Gentleman calls, and here I have top pair. I'm playing for the 3 to give me the nuts. I also have a run flush possibility, so even though I don't think I'm winning anymore, I still think I can call and see a turn. So that's what I do. I call, and we go 3 ways to a turn that is literally the best card in the deck. A 3 of spades. Small blind checks to me. I check as well, and middle position quickly shoves all in for $190. Small blind folds and I call. I already show my hand in respect to him. River is a blank, a 9 of spades, and he shows ace-5. Wow. So I was only playing for a 3 or for a run flush. We got very lucky, and we win this $782 pot. The session is going pretty smooth, but soon this is all about to change. A new player arrived to the table, and he seemed to be pretty spewy, raising, betting, and donk betting a lot, which is great. And the next hand is exactly versus him.
He placed the bet and he was immediately like, this is bullshit.
Fun Gentleman left the table, and when I saw the opportunity, I asked the dealer if I could go to the big blind in the other side of the table, which was also on the left of this guy. So dealer allowed it, and I threw a $5 chip so I could take the big blind. And the exact first hand, we already played a big pot versus that guy.
He placed the bet and he was immediately like, this is bullshit.
This hand was sick since the beginning because everybody folded to the small blind, who instead of chopping, he wanted to raise. And everybody chops usually. But as I saw he wanted to play, I wanted to play as well. So I decided to 3-bet my king 9 suited, and he quickly called. Flop came 9, 10, ace with 1 diamond, and small blind decided to lead to $75. I had bottom pair. I was also going for runner flush, and I decided to call at least once, and then the turn was a king of hearts. Now I had 2 pair, and he kept betting, now to 150. I don't see that guy having ace king. I see him having king 10 that I'm losing. He could have 10s, queen jack as well. But most of the times I'm gonna be winning here, and I decided to call again in position. And then the river came of jack of spades, which is a bad card for us. And now he bets again, now to 400. And I remember that when he did this bet, I started thinking out loud. I said, bro, first you lead the flop saying you have ace, X, something, like you have a top pair or maybe 2 pair, okay. And then on the turn, it comes the king, and you bet again. So you say, yo, I have top pair or 2 pair. I have a strong hand. And now the river comes a jack and you bet huge. What do you have, man? And then looking at his face, he said the following. So call then. And in the end, I decided to call, and he shows 6-7 suited. I show the 2 pair, and then he just starts complaining that I wasn't supposed to come to this seat and whatever, but I asked the dealer, and the dealer allowed me to be here. So he was just whining, and we won this hand. And I remember that when I did this video, I said, man, wow, in the day that I decide to make a day in life of a professional poker player in Las Vegas, I run this hot. A session like this is not something that happens often, but I had no idea of how well I was still about to run. First because the table got even better, but that part is natural. Some other weak players joined and it was already almost 4 AM. But what is not natural is me seeing queen jack offsuit from the under the gun. I decide to open raise when many times I'm gonna just fold this hand. 2 players call and we go 3 ways to a flop that I make top 2 pair. I see bet 25, cutoff folds, and then button decides to re-raise to $60. I asked to see his stack and he has like 660 total. In case we were playing deeper, I would consider re-raising again, but that would represent a lot of strength from my part. And because we were not playing that deep, I decided to just call and see the turn out of position, which was another jack. Like, what the hell is happening, you know? Like, I'm running pure. I check and button quickly checks back. The river was an ace of diamonds, and now I'm gonna bet for value for sure. I decide to make it 125, and he thinks for more than a minute until he decides to call. Most likely he made a hero call, thinking that I would be able of be bluffing right here. And that's something important, that you have an image that people think that you are capable of bluffing, because if people think that you are capable of doing that, they will tend to call you more often. So you're gonna extract more value when you actually have a hand like we have right now. In the next hand, I see my favorite combination of hand in poker, blackjacks. We're on the big blind and under the gun straddles to 10. Hijack raises to 30 and cut off 3 bets to $90. His effective stack is 500 and I'm gonna 4-bet here for sure. The question is how much. I decide to make it 265. Hijack folds and now action is back on cutoff. And after he thinks for a long while, he decides to fold.
Show it and I show it.
He shows ace queen offsuit and I show the jacks and we win. Next hand we're in the small blind with ace king offsuit and hijack open raises to $15. Cut off 3 bets to 45 and cut off stack is a little more than 175. I called 4-bet to $200. Cutoff seems to be sad with this spot, but he still decides to call and we're gonna see the 5 cards cause he's all in.
Also that is double up.
Indeed.
Flop is bad and I show my hand. Right away the dealer puts an ace of hearts in the turn. It's amazing how good we are running today and we win this one. We're having a huge win so far, but we're not done yet. Next hand I see ace queen offsuit from the hijack. Under the gun straddles to 10. I open raise to 30. Cut off and button call.
Everybody wants to double up on me. All those guys want to double up on me.
I want to double up.
I know you want to.
Straddler calls as well, so 4 players see the flop. Flop comes queen jack 7 rainbow. We have top pair, top kicker. I see bet 55, which is around 40% of the pot. Straddler re-raises to 120. That shows a lot of strength from him. I'm losing for hands like queen jack, pocket 7s, jack 7 suited, queen 7 suited maybe. So I decide to call in position and see a turn. Turn is not the best. A jack of hearts. Now if he had a jack, he got there. And now Straddler checks, which is fine. I could decide to bet here, but instead I decided to check back and see a river in position. River is pretty bad, a 7 of clubs. If he had a 7 or a jack, he got there. And now Straddler decides to bet $220.
Why that 7?
That's a pretty tough spot, because I don't think he is bluffing here, and if he is not bluffing, what am I winning? I'm winning hands like king queen, queen 10, queen 9, suited maybe. I'm winning bluffs as well that he could have, but I don't think so. There's a relevant chance I'm losing here.
I got ace queen, bro.
I told him this, and then by looking at his face, I didn't feel like he's so secure anymore. And after considering my options, I decided to call. He shows queen 10, I show ace queen, and we win the last hand of the night.
What a fucking night for you, kid.
And after playing for almost 11 hours, we profit 3,529, which was my biggest win playing 2-5 ever. It is not every day that you make more than 700 big blinds in one night. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, there are hundreds of others that you might also enjoy as well. Just click any of the options in the screen. The mission of this channel is helping you become a better poker player, and see you next time.